everyone for the Campus Insider, everything you need to know about BSc Economics with NMIMS Mumbai. I am Sanika Mate, your friend, your mentor, your guide, welcoming everyone to you today for this session. Today we have panelists with us, and we have Tisha, Riti, and Neeta. Okay, before before we move to the introduction with them, let me quickly give you an insight on the NMIMS, the important university which a lot of you actually go ahead and apply for. Okay, so NMIMS, everybody, I think it doesn't really need any kind of an introduction. Okay, this particular university was established back in 1981, so it's a pretty old university. Okay, it has a lot of courses, and one of the renowned courses it has is the BSc Economics. All right, now BSc Economics, if you are looking at applying for for the NMIMS BSc Economics, can somebody tell me which entrance exam you all have to take quickly in the chat box? ये नहीं पता है, then I have a question. Very good, Shreya. Absolutely. We have to take the NPAT. Okay. Now, like other universities, NPAT also has certain criteria. Now, what is the criteria for you to apply for this particular program? First, let me give you the insight in terms of the seat. So, if you are looking at the most preferred campus by everyone, which is the Mumbai campus. So Mumbai campus has around 180 seat intake. This program is also available with other two campuses, which is Navi Mumbai and Bengaluru. And both these campuses will provide you around 60 seats each. So if you are not really getting your, the option of admission in Mumbai, you would get either in Navi Mumbai or Bengaluru. The preferred one is anytime Mumbai. The fees for this program is on an average around 3.25 lakhs in Mumbai, while in Navi Mumbai and Bengaluru, it will be a lakh less, so it's around 2.25. Now, coming to the NPAT part, you can actually take admission in NMIMS two ways. One is through NPAT, that is the entrance exam which you correctly mentioned. And the other option, or the other way you can go for, is the STAT. So if you are planning to give SAT, or if you have already given SAT, and if you have decent scores, then yes, you would be able to take admission to NMIMS through either of it. Now, what is the main eligibility criteria, what you look at? Okay, so with NMIMS, the eligibility criteria will be that you have to be at least or at 25 years. So the maximum age limit which goes for a UG program is around 25 years. Okay. The score should be at least 50% in 12th. Any of you feels कि 50% नहीं आएगा 12th में? Quick raise of hand. I'm a little scared about this question. किसी को ऐसा लग रहा है मेरे 50 भी नहीं आएंगे 12th में? I'm happy none of you have raised your hand. So minimum, if a student have got 50%, they can apply for the NPAT. Okay, try to get more. In fact, I mean, get best scores, work hard. And the question which a lot of you have asked about mathematics and stats, it is mandatory. You will have to have maths in your 12th if you are looking at applying in NMIMS. It is a mandatory subject. अगर वो आपके पास नहीं है, वो आपने नहीं लिया है, तो शायद आप apply नहीं कर पाओगे. Okay. Now, the most important thing is about the NPAT. Now, what exactly the paper pattern for the NPAT is? So, NPAT entrance test, if you are giving, you would ideally be giving this particular entrance test, and there will be 3 sections. Best part is there is no sectional cutoff. Okay, so if there would not be any kind of sections, yeah, there are 3 sections you have to give, but there is no cutoff as such. So there is quantitative ability, there is logical reasoning, and then there is verbal ability, which is 40 marks each. Okay, so the total paper works out to be around 120 marks. Now, this particular marking scheme goes as +1, and there is no negative marking, which is a good news. Coming to the part which is the admission part. So again, there is a good part here that there is no PI as well. So you all will be kind of given merit number, and according to your merit number, you will be given admission in the NMIMS University. If you have a rank of around 900 going by the 2023 students, if you have around 900 rank in BSc Eco, which means your BBA rank will be somewhere around 2500 odd, the chances of you getting into BSc Economics Mumbai campus will be very, very high. But again, let me mention very clearly here that ranking for different program is different. So what you need is at least a 900 and below for you to secure your admission with NMIMS in for BSc Economics for the Mumbai campus. Okay, and again the cutoff is given according to the scores what you get. Now moving to the profiles which I mentioned. Okay, what is the cutoff for Mumbai? It's the cutoff, when it comes to the rank is what I have mentioned, Ayush. You need to get around a 900 rank. It's not percentile based, it's a score based, Shreya. That's how it works. It's a score based, and that's how the rank will be provided. It's a merit rank is what they call. Okay. Moving to something very, very important, which you guys have asked me earlier, is about the profiles. Okay, so I will share the profiles once we start talking about uh, Karthik, we would answer that particular question. Okay, uh, now when it comes to the you know the placement part, I would, once we start speaking about the placement, I will show you the profiles, because I am sure Ritisha, Riti, and Neeta have a lot to contribute to the conversation. Okay, and now without any further ado, let's quickly start with the session. There's one question which has been asked to me about the score. You need to score around 80 odd, if you are really looking at a score of around 900, between 75 to 80 is what really looked at. Naisha, what is the rank for BBA Mumbai? 2500 is what you should be looking at. Okay, so now without any further ado, let's quickly start with our session, and let's quickly, allow our panelists to introduce themselves. To start with Neeta. Neeta, thank you so much for joining in. Can you please introduce yourself to our students today?
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm
Okay.
I've done CBSEs till 10th grade and I scored around 97%. I took commerce in 11th and 12th and I got around 96%. My co-curriculars were mainly focused on sports and I've also participated in an inter-DPS French competition.
Very nice. Thank you so much, Neeta. Tisha, would you please introduce yourself as well?
Hi, good afternoon to everyone. I am Tisha Javeri. I am from Mumbai. I did my 10th in South Bombay in JB Parrott High School for Girls, where I did the ICSE and I scored a 96% in my boards. Post that, I did the IB program at Hillspring International and I scored a 44 out of 45 points. Post which I decided to do the BSc Economics at Mumbai, and I've come from a background of a lot of debate, MUN, lots of like discussion-oriented events. So that is something that I would consider my forte.
All right. Last but not the least, Riti, can you please, introduce yourself to our students?
Hi, I'm Riti, and I did 10th grade from Jamnavan OC School itself, ICSE board. And I went ahead to do ISC from again Jamnavan OC School, and I secured a 96 in 10th and a 95 in 12th. Talking about my extracurriculars, I have done 5 years of Bharatanatyam and I have done competitive athletics. So that's a little bit about me, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Riti. Now, if I see all three of you are definitely kind of around 90 above, all three of you, okay, which kind of shows the profile which NMIMS is looking at. Now, starting with my first question, okay, I'll directly take the questions here, okay. All three of you have opted for, obviously, the BSc Economics with NMIMS. can you all help me, starting with Riti, with you, can you let me know what were your options, what entrance exams you opted for, and what was the reason for you to finalize or to take admission finally into NMIMS?
So first of all, I feel like my options narrowed down a lot because I was not willing to go abroad for undergrad. So I wanted to stay in India and preferably Mumbai. So I did opt for symbiosis, which is in Pune, because liberal arts is something that really interested me. The curriculum of liberal arts really interested me. So I opted for that. I did get into it. And then when we visited the campus, I didn't really find it very appealing. And also, I think symbiosis is a lot for people who want to do a major in an art subject. So, and I want to do a major in economics. So the faculty was not very great. So for which I cancelled the plan of going to symbiosis. For now, NMIMS is the only thing left. Being from Jamnabai and SPKM background, NMIMS is something I always applied. Like you're meant to apply to NMIMS. So like BSc Economics was the only other option that was left for me. So yeah, I really liked the whole curriculum of BSc Economics. So I was pretty happy with going forward with it.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Tisha, with you, uh, what were your options and how have you, taken admission into NMIMS?
So for me, I was very sure. I mean, firstly, the same thing as Riti. My location is a criteria that I narrowed down to. It was specifically going to be Mumbai for sure. Then I looked at various colleges. My top choice was actually a BMS at Xavier's or a BA in economics at Xavier's. Both of which I applied for the entrance, but I was unable to secure admission. My backup option was NMIMS. Actually, Xavier's and NMIMS were my only two options. At NMIMS, although there are multiple different degrees, as you guys must be knowing that NMIMS has multiple schools under it: School of Commerce, School of Economics, School of Liberal Arts, etc. So my options were under the School of Commerce, which is a BBA, a BSc Finance, and a BCom honors, and then there was a BSc in Economics. So finally, I narrowed my choices down to a BBA and a BSc Economics, from which BSc Economics was my first choice, only because of its course structure. So if you just look at the websites of just these two different colleges, it is you see the course structure, you see the kind of subjects that are offered to you, and for me it was a sure win, and BSc Economics was a sure win only because of the way the course was designed, the structure of the course, and just the subjects that were offered. So that's basically how I narrowed my choices down.
Okay, and you have taken admission to NMIMS through your SAT scores.
That, yeah. So I didn't. Yeah.
Please go ahead.
So initially, I mean, doing the IB, it made sense in the beginning to go abroad. But after a lot of consideration, I decided not to. But I had already given my SAT.
Okay.
So how the SAT works is, I think I scored a 1450, and the 1450 on 1600 on an SAT gave me admission into various NMIMS colleges with different ranks. So in BSc Economics, my rank came up to, I'm not 100% sure, but around between 10 and 12 or something, versus in other schools like in BBA, the rank was slightly higher. Versus in mathematics, BSc Mathematics of NMIMS, my rank was 4. So essentially, not many people apply to that college with SAT. So with the 1450, I could get into economics easily as such.
Okay. So your scores for your SAT was around 1450.
On 1600, yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. So if this is a question for anyone here, that what should be the SAT scores, we have given the SAT exam, and I have received a certain number, 1400. What is the minimum score to get the admission? Anything which is beyond 1300, okay, will be a good score for you to get admission, Neeraja. Okay, so if you are looking at giving SAT, yes, that will be a good number. 1450 again is a very impressive number, let me tell you, Tisha. So good part there. Thank you so much. Neeta, can you please let us know what were your options and how you kind of decided to join the NMIMS Mumbai?
So since I did commerce, I had a idea of what economics was because we did study it as a subject. However, I was not too keen on the core commerce subjects, because of which I started looking more into economics. And when it came to that, NMIMS was a clear choice. The faculty and the course structure, it really stood out. Other than that, I looked for St. Xavier's in Mumbai also, but I wanted something with BSc because it was more math focused and stat focused. So I'd applied for BSc Economics and BSc Finance, but economics was my first choice. So
Okay, okay. Great. So, all of you, economics, or either you're going for BBA, okay? That's normally the options which our students kind of keep. Did you have any idea what was the uniqueness of this particular course? Starting with you, Neeta, were you aware of, what really make NMIMS BSc Eco stands out when you actually took the admission?
So as a course in itself, we study various economic subjects throughout the semester. It's not like just one, like economics, microeconomics in the first, and then you cover something else. You cover a whole, like it's very holistic from the first semester itself. Other than that, even you usually have 4 core subjects in economics. Additionally, you have a lot of other subjects which are not purely economics. You have law, pol science, all of which, adds up and giving a much better view of understanding how an economy runs, or putting the world fitting it into a better picture. And also the faculty definitely stood out, and even the fests and the clubs that NMIMS and especially SAMSO has played a big role.
Okay. Riti, starting with you, when it comes to NMIMS BSc Eco is concerned, okay, you boil down to this particular, stream and this university. Did you do your research to understand what exactly making this particular program in university stand out? And what
So
was
yeah,
it?
I did do my fair share of research, and a lot of people said that it would be very rigorous, and it was like I got a lot from people saying that, if you do BSc Economics, your first year of masters is kind of covered. So I got a lot, like it's very rigorous and all. But I feel like again the course structure really appealed to me because I'm someone who likes to venture into other things. So knowing that every semester there's going to be a different subject, you're gonna touch upon like psychology or sociology, or like you even gonna touch upon like humanities subjects. So and liberal arts is again something I'm very fond of. So I feel like it was not, I wouldn't say completely based on liberal arts, but a lot like liberal arts because you're touching upon a lot of other subjects except economics, even though economics is your central base. So I feel like that's what really made me want to go for it, because I knew that I was going to get like a entire view of different subjects and economics as a whole. So that's what I really appealed to me.
Okay. Tisha, what was your reasons when you decided, on the BSc Economics for NMIMS Mumbai?
So I did something that like I genuinely would recommend not to do.
Okay.
I what I did was I had economics at a higher level in my IB, and based on that, and I feel like a lot of students, even like a lot of batchmates of mine, have particularly took econ because of something that they had studied in their 11th, 12th. And I've seen like the curriculum of what econ was in IB, what econ was in A levels versus HSC, and even a little bit of CBSE. And what I can say is that it is nothing like your degree program. So I would highly recommend that do not choose this subject because you feel like you're doing really well in your 11th, 12th. Because your marks out there will mean absolutely nothing when it comes to degree, this kind of a degree with so much rigor. What I would say is like, I looked at it in terms of my marks. I thought I was doing really well, but little did I know that whatever I studied in the 2 years of my high levels economics was covered in 1 month in at NMIMS. What I would say is that just look at your like the inclination you have towards the fundamentals and the basics of the subject altogether, and if there is some sort of affiliation or liking towards those kind of concepts and that kind of critical thinking, then maybe this is something to do. But what I did was I looked at it based on my marks. I thought, okay, economics is something I've done well in. Why not pursue it further? But yeah, that's not the best approach to take in hindsight.
Absolutely correct. I think what you have mentioned, Tisha, is a very important and a very, a point which a lot of my students forget at times when they are applying or, kind of going for economics. Okay. So, whatever you are studying in your school in 11th and 12th, I think it is just the surface of economics. The economics as a subject goes very deep. It's like ocean. With every section, you would have different fishes. It's the same way. They would actually talk about a lot of stats, a lot of maths, a lot of different aspects to economics. So before, and just a suggestion, which I would like to give everybody, all my economics enthusiasts who are very gung-ho about taking economics, before you apply for any, if you have your application strategy कि okay fine मैं 6 colleges में apply करूंगा, मैं 6 entrance test लिखूंगा, but make sure you just go through all these 6 universities, go through their website, look at the curriculum what they offer. You would see that there is political science, you will see there is sociology, you would see there is communication, the same way BSc Economics, NMIM is offering. They have creative writing as well. They have micro and macroeconomics becomes like a staple thing there. But again, with SEM wise, you go from introduction to intermediate and then the advanced level, it goes on. So make sure that you check. It definitely kind of prepares you all round, but you would also see that it is just not what you kind of learn, that's something which is a point to be noted. All right. Moving to the next question. Now, with this particular program, when it comes to, the BSc Economics with NMIMS, what unique opportunities the program provides you, which you felt has really helped you? Okay. Starting with you, Tisha.
So, sorry, this is not something that I have done again, but
Okay.
MIMS BSc Economics offers, like recently, there's a lot of international linkages with various universities abroad. So, what SAMSO does is they have these partnership programs where you can do 2 years in NMIMS here, then you can do 1 year in a foreign university abroad, or you can do all 3 years of undergraduate here, and then you get an easy entry into a master's program abroad. So, I'm not very well versed as to how prevalent these kind of programs and partnerships are in SAMSO, I mean Sarlani Modi School of Economics. So I'm sorry, I did not mention,
It's
but
okay. It's okay.
uh, basically, I'm not very well versed about how prevalent these kind of programs are in other colleges, but I know at least with SAMSO, there are lots of very good partnerships. At least the recent ones have been like pretty good colleges, good courses. So that is something that you could look at if you don't want to spend all 3 years abroad, but you want to do something where you have some sort of experience at a foreign university. They offer many programs like these.
Good. So that is tidily the unique part which you have kind of come across. Great. Riti, what about you? What you have kind of found the uniqueness of the program, which you feel you have, it is kind of helping students or it has helped you in person.
So again, this is not something that I've got involved in, but they also have an opportunity about incubation centers, like where if you have your own startup idea, you can put forward your idea, and you can, if they find it interesting or if you win, then you kind of get a funding like for it. That's something that's very interesting for like people who are very entrepreneurial minds, and that's something that's very interesting. And also, they have a lot of guest lectures, and like you get an actual experience and look at the an actual corporate sector, and you have a lot of guest lectures there. So I think that's very interesting that you can actually apply what you're learning in the corporate world. So that's something very interesting.
Great. What about you, Neeta? Third year now, all three of you. In you again in the third year, what exactly has you found unique about this program?
So the fact that even though it's very academically rigorous, the number and the variety of clubs that we host is pretty great. Like if you're a photography enthusiast to somebody who really enjoys dancing and singing, there's like all sorts of clubs that you can join and be a part of, and they have activities throughout the year. So it gives you a very it gives you a very good balance, combining your academics with your overall development and helping you pursue other interests also. And we also have three major fests, which actually bring all like the entire college in one sense together and host it over a day or 3 days, which really stands out.
Yeah, I think the NMIMS Fest has been all over a while back on Instagram. I've kind of gone through a lot of reels there. Now, coming, to the fest, I will cover the fest part. I'm sure a lot of you would be interested to know about the fest. Hang on to your question. Let's first look at the study part there. So, coming to the acads, okay, all three of you mentioned that BSc Eco, the surface, what you study is the surface. That's what we have agreed on to. But right now, if Nita, you can help us. What are the subjects you study in the first, second year? I have kind of mentioned few already because I've gone through the curriculum. But if you can let us know what subjects students would study in terms of first, second, and third year, and if there is any specialization.
Right. So first year you start with basics of mainly four subjects, which is basics of macroeconomics, developmental economics, and maths. Then these are progressed to second year and third year. So you have advanced micro, advanced macro, you have international economics, then your stats, maths and stats is something which continues throughout all years. The first year is more focused on maths, second more on stats. And as you progress, it goes into econometrics, which is math specifically for economic applications. In other subjects include, so these are your core subjects, these are 4 credits. Then you have 3 credit subjects like political science, law, sociology, psychology. And other than this, we also have a system where you can choose another subject which, say, the other school offers, which have the same credit. So if you want to, say, pursue environmental law, which our college does not directly offer, you have a ability to swap with one of the subjects that you are studying.
Hmm.
And in third year, you get to choose a specialization. Either you want to continue with economics, or it's either economics, finance, or business.
Okay, so even with BSc Economics, you are able to get specialization.
Definitely, yeah. Third year, we have a choice.
Okay, and can you repeat the specializations again, Anita?
Economics, for those who want to
Yes.
go core economics. So we have subjects like labor economics, operations research. Then in business, we have management, marketing. And in finance, we have corporate finance, capital markets.
Okay. So if I look at it, it kind of again is a very holistic program,
Definitely.
considering the kind of program. So once you are done with it, you're kind of getting a taste of all the possible, subjects, what you are kind of, and all the aspects of economics, which is very, very interesting. Uh, Now, Tisha, when it comes to these subjects are concerned, do you get assignments and projects based on this? And from which year does NMIMS start? Is the rigor from the first year itself, और it मतलब first year में ही आपको बहुत ज्यादा पढ़ाई होता है, or it kind of starts from the second year, second sem? How does it work?
So my experience has been my first sem has been the hardest up till now. I think Nita and Riti might also agree with me on this. First sem, then second sem becomes a little harder. Second year, your subjects decrease, but your difficulty level of the subject drastically increases. And ironically, your third year is more chill, because you're also focusing on your application process, your job, CVs, etc. But your first year is like your foundation. So how answering your first question about assignments, so we have this thing, we have how our grading works is we have 100 mark is our full component of each subject. We have a 50 marks term end examination, and we have a 50-mark internal continuous assessment. These 50 marks of the internal continuous assessment consist of a midterm examination, but keeping that aside, of 20 marks, keeping that aside, 30 marks are basically assignments. So your assignments can be of different forms depending on your subject and your teacher and how creative and enthusiastic your teacher wants to be. But you can have individual assignments, you can have group assignments, debates, quizzes. It's endless. It's, of course, your first year itself, your a lot of emphasis is given on group projects. Every subject you're going to have a group project, you're going to have one individual project, and then it's up to the teacher if she wants to make that individual one a debate or a quiz or any other form. But assignments start from like the very first semester and they go on up until the sixth semester. The components of the ICA don't necessarily change as much.
Wow, you guys have been kept on your toes from the first year itself. Okay. Okay. Riti, coming to you with the next question. Is there a research project? And is there a project, as as Tisha highlighted about the fact that there is a project, a team project, okay? So the project or the research project, can you give a little bit more insight on that?
So I think research is something that starts from the third semester. I think research, how to do the methodology, how to do literature review is something that you're first taught initially. Then you're supposed to do it in that semester, and I think it's based on you're marked for it, but it becomes serious in the third year where you're actually supposed to have a research paper that you're supposed to yourself do it. So and a lot of people get published, so that's the plus point. Like if you want to get published, you can, because it's something that a lot of people do get published. The research papers do get published. So research is something that they do put a lot of emphasis on. So even if you're not into research, you will have to do research because you have to. It's something that they have as a individual course, and you will have to because they've assigned credits to it, and your marks depend on it. So yeah, they put a lot of emphasis on research, but they will also support you enough for it because you have a mentor. Like everyone has a mentor. There's a group of people who have a mentor, and you can approach the mentor whenever you want. So any doubts or any queries or anywhere you need some guidance, you can always approach the mentor. They're always available. That's for sure. But so you're gonna have enough support, but research is a mandatory. Like you've got to do it.
Okay, so when you're talking about mentors, are these people the faculty we are addressing to, or they are specifically, mentors assigned to help students?
So it is the faculty. Um, so it is the faculty, but it's not necessary. It has to be from SAMSO. It can be from a different school, like it can be School of Law, or it can be from a finance BSc finance background. So it can be from different schools, but you will get a mentor, and it will be from mostly NMIMS, like NMIMS is.
Okay, great. Now, either of you, I have, read this on the NMIMS website about the summer training. Okay, so Tisha, are you aware about the summer training with NMIMS? Either of you have some information about the summer training. What exactly is summer training?
Summer training for
Summer
what?
internship?
Right.
Is it summer internship? What exactly they refer to as summer training on their website?
So there are two things that could potentially be in this. Summer internships are basically internships that we're recommended to do after our second year.
Okay.
What happens is the break before your third year starts, our placement cell organizes much in advance, organizes students to get summer internships from various companies and offers it to our students. So I'm going to be honest, there's not a lot of support that we get for summer internships after our second year. We will have a batch of people applying. Not everyone gets a summer internship via college. We have some really good ones that do come, which is offered to the best students. But yeah, there's not a lot. A lot of support is given by the placement cell for your jobs and for your post your degree jobs, but not much for summer internships per se. Summer training is a different thing. I think SAMSO does have a few courses that they do take during summer.
Okay.
Like SAMSO faculty itself takes up few courses, nothing compulsory, nothing doesn't have to be done by students, but it's obviously something you can opt for in case you want to learn. Like I remember this summer we had our programming language, like a workshop on it. We've had operations research workshops on operations research, etc. So there are these various sort of subjects that
To
we.
enhance profile for the
Yeah,
students.
yeah. But
Okay,
again,
okay.
it's not limited to just NMIMS students. It's open to everyone, and it's not something compulsory for NMIMS students either.
Okay, so basically, the point for asking this is because, you are developing a lot of skills as students, with the university as you guys are doing your degree. And it's great to, come across universities really focusing on something like summer training, which will only enhance your profile and kind of add further skills to your profile. Okay, now coming to or just moving to the next question here, when it comes to your social causes are concerned, which actually has a very lot of emphasis, it is ideally emphasized by a lot by the other universities. Okay, does NMIMS also, Neeta, this question is for you, does focus on social causes?
Yes, even B.Sc Economics, we do carry out various social events, social projects, mainly through our fests and our clubs. So we have a dedicated social service club, which is called Samvedna. They organize, teaching for the underprivileged students, Carter cleanups. They have tie-ups with various NGOs to carry out these kind of works and activities, and it's almost every weekend. It's very, it's very on routine, and there's always something happening with this. And even with fests, they organize, tie-ups with TFI, or some kind of social work even happens with fests. So even they have sometimes dedicated departments for it.
Fantastic. Now let's talk about the campus. Okay. People who don't know, NMIMS doesn't really have a campus, as in they don't have like a huge ground which you can call a campus, or it is a building. And now they have come up with a new building, as per I've been enlightened by my last session when we did with my BBA students. Okay. Now you guys have been talking a lot about the clubs. Okay. So are students allowed to join the club in the first and the second year itself? Uh, Riti, the question is for you. Can you join the club in the first and the second year itself?
Um, So, um, the clubs in the first and second sem definitely it's promoted in the first sem initially only. From the first week only, it's promoted that these are the clubs and you can join. And the best part is that there's a club for everything. Like if you're interested in art, there's a club for art called LCP. If you're interested in social work, there's Sabena. If you're interested in dance or anything creative, singing, dance, drama, there's Junoon. There's always something there for everything. There's a debate festival. So anything you're interested in, there's always going to be something there. So it's always promoted from your first semester. So, yeah, I think at least that's what I've observed. Whoever comes into NMIMS is someone who's very enthusiastic about these things. So, all our juniors have been very enthusiastic about these things, and like you participate in 2, 3 clubs, and I don't think there's anyone to stop you. And yeah, you can enjoy. Like I know the academics can be rigorous and can be stressful. There's always something else where you can like have as a stress buster, or like you can, and there's a lot of things in college where you can kind of like take your mind off like the marks and all the competition and everything. Like there's a lot to take your mind away from that and like help you enjoy, and like you can
Okay.
have a good time in college.
Great. So, Tisha, coming to you, Riti mentioned about a lot of clubs. Okay, are these clubs are the one who kind of helps you in any way towards your profile in any way? Why should a student join the club? Because as per what last session, if my students have attended the BBA session, even those students from BBA have been kind of speaking about the fact that you should join clubs. Would you be able to give us a perspective on why, students right now who are looking at NMIMS should really join a club? What would they get out of it?
I cannot really stress enough on how important it is to join clubs. I've been like a living, breathing example of that. My entire social life in college, everything it revolves around clubs, fests, etc. So what happens is, on paper, obviously you're not going to be able to explain the different 100 clubs that you've joined or 100 fests that you've joined. You're not going to be able to do that. At max, you're going to be able to mention that you were a committee member of this or a director of this. But what it does is that I think it gives you things that you can't necessarily quantify, because it's kind of giving you a lot of skills that you're learning because of the kind of different types of departments, different types of clubs available for you to join. The skills you learn are something that you kind of inculcate within you itself. So what it's going to help is that if later on when people talk, I'll give an example of myself. I was a
Go ahead.
director of the youth conference, and something that I have taken back from this is that all the planning that we did, hosting an event with Pan India participants, having judges from like very reputed institutions from across the country, discussing topics, social topics, economic based topics. A lot of these things I can't really put on my CV that I did these many things, but what I can, it does kind of show in the way I speak to people later on. All of these things do come across at some point or the other, they're going to show. So I think it's more of just building your personality. Joining clubs, fest really helps you develop sort of your thinking, helps you like critically analyze things, and also like hones your administrative skills at some point, because at some point you are going to get to do those things in all kinds of clubs or fests. So yeah, and at least in SAMSO, how it works is that you join a club in the first year. In your second year, if you're really good, you do become like the head of department of that particular department that you worked in before. And the third year, you could even become the president of the club or the president of that fest, etc. That's the usual trajectory. And for the most part, it does work for a lot of students, because you see the club grow, you see yourself grow, and there's so much that you can contribute in the process of it. So
All right. Okay, that's a good perspective. Thank you so much, Trisha. Uh, Nita, next question is for you. Okay. Now we are talking about all these clubs. So you have earlier spoken about the fest. Okay, there are three fests, and can you give a little bit more insight in terms of what are the fest, and also most importantly, is there a dress code? Can we answer that particular question first, because somebody has just asked me here. So is there a dress code with NMIMS?
No, there is no strict dress code.
Okay.
So that's not much of an issue.
Okay, okay. Coming to the festival part, can you give a little bit of elaboration in regards with the fest? How many fests are there, and how is the students organizing it, or is it done by the university?
Yeah. So SAMSO has three main fests. First is the debate fest, which is actually happening today. So it happens during this time.
Okay.
Second fest is so Shastra. This is the debating fest. It's a one-day fest where it's again pan-India participation or pan-Mumbai participation, and it's a lot of hashing out of ideas. It's purely discussion, deliberation, and it comes down as a debating fest. Tisha can speak a lot about it. She was a part of it.
Okay.
Then the second fest is Kaching X EdgeCon. It is the socio-economic fest of our college. It's a bit more broad-based in the sense the Kaching aspect of the fest hosts various events from finance, entrepreneurship, and even crisis management. You have different categories and around 12, 18 events which our college hosts. And the EdgeCon part of it covers more discussion, debate-based events. We have speaker sessions, we have the youth conference, policy challenge, which all falls under this fest. And finally, we have a sports fest, which is Fury. It's organized around February, March, if I'm not wrong. So that's again hosts tennis tournaments, chess, badminton, cricket, football. So I guess everything gets covered some way or the other.
Great. Now coming to the attendance part, okay, which is very crucial. Whenever I speak about attendance, I get similar reaction what Riti has given. My earlier students have kind of been very emotional about it. What's about the attendance? Proxy मिलता है लगाने के लिए, ये बहुत ही crucial questions है. With the expressions, it's clearly visible. Ki, yes, Riti, I liked your reaction. Can we get the reaction verbally as well, please?
So when they say you need to have 80% of your attendance, they mean you need to have 80% of your attendance. You cannot get some kind of loophole there. You're not gonna get any kind of loophole there. So if it's your first time, like not getting 80% or you're lacking in some kind of, they make you sign an undertaking during your exams. Yeah. So as I was saying, I think 80% is something that they take very strictly. Like if you miss like even a day, you need to submit a doctor's certificate. If you fail to do so, you are gonna lose your attendance. And even when you submit your doctor's certificate, you're only going to get that attendance if you lag in a subject. Like, it's not like you're going to get attendance either ways. Like, you're going to get it only if you do not have enough attendance in some subject. So, only then will you get attendance if you have submitted a doctor's certificate and if they approve of the doctor's certificate. So, I think they do take it very strictly. And if, like, proxy is something that if you're lucky happens, if you're not, you cannot do anything about it because the very strict unless you get someone who kind of is willing to adjust here and there. But like it is very strict, and yeah, you cannot. There's no loophole to like escape it. So if you're looking for like bunking and like not attending lectures, it's not something that you can have at NMIMS, because it's like you're joining school. It's like school but with no dress code and more fun. So like yeah.
Okay, thank you, Riti. I think you have expressed it, for on behalf of Tisha and Neeta as well. It's very strong that I can understand possibly what you guys go through, but students, if you're looking at getting into NMIMS, this is something which will be applicable possibly for all the courses. 80% attendance is mandatory, and as she said, it's not only for BSc Economics, but this is a ground rule which NMIMS follow looks like for all the courses. So if you get into NMIMS and if this is what the intention, make sure that you're a little serious about the program, because there is no other option apart from this. Okay. Coming to the next question, when it comes to the rigor is concerned, okay, it is said that it is very important in terms of the peer group you work with or you kind of study with, okay, because the students tend to rub onto each other, so with if I have to give example, something like Shahid Sukhdev, where every topper you would find in Shahid Sukhdev, is it something same thing with goes as NMIMS as well? Tisha, I think if you can help me with this particular question, uh, do you find the rigor, the competitiveness within the students? Uh, is it difficult at times, in terms of grading? Do you find a lot of competition among students?
It is definitely competitive. It is just not competitive in a very negative way. You're not going
Okay,
to be like mentally impacted solely by this competition. It's healthy competition, to put it in better words.
great.
It's healthy competition. The rigor is there. Of course, your peer group does matter. So what happens is we have a reading hall, we have our atrium space, and that is something that students use to study during exams. The thing is, when you are in such a college, you're going to have a lot of people who are extremely serious about academics since school itself. And you will see that most of these people are going to be studying before their midsems, before their end vigorously in these areas. I think for at least for a lot of people, that sort of like motivated them. When you see other people studying, you see so many people working hard, you don't have a choice. It's inevitable for you to put in some kind of effort and work, because without that, there's absolutely no scope. Like without effort, there is no scope in this college at all. So you see it, like you see people studying. It's not like people are going to like hide and study and then suddenly come up and score like good marks. It's very obvious. You know who the ones studying are. You know that the effort that they put in, which is good because it kind of motivates you to do better as well, you to put in that effort as well. So it's not bad competition, it's healthy competition that helps you like maintain a decent GPA of sorts.
Okay, now coming to GPA, that's a very good question. That was my next question. Okay, what is the current CGPA for all three of you? Last I heard was no, okay, you don't want to share? Okay, Riti,
Neeta
Neeta.
can definitely share.
Okay, this is something which happens with all the sessions. Okay, the person who has the highest CGPA is pointed. Okay, she would be able to. Neeta, can we know your CGPA, please?
I have a 3.83 CGPA out of 4.
Woo, wow, that is impressive. Riti, would you like to share yours, please?
I'm struggling. I just want a 3.5, but currently I'm at a 3.48.
Okay.
You will find overachievers like Nita and people who get like 4 and all. But I feel like you're okay when you're at like a 3.4 or 3.3 in this college, because the course is rigorous. I will not lie. Like it is rigorous. And like if you don't like economics, there's no scope. Like you cannot get into this course if you don't like economics.
Hmm.
So I'm at a 3.48 right now, trying to get a 3.5 the last 2 cents. But
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, all the best for the this semester. But a very important question I have here. Now, when it comes to internships are concerned, you mentioned a little aspect of internships. This CGPA holds a crucial part in terms of eligibility for internship or placements. Uh, Tisha?
So for internships, I'd say no. For
Okay.
placements, to a certain degree, yes. So internships, no, only because if I'm being honest, a lot of people that even in my batch that did get summer internships got it via some kind of like some kind of like via contacts or via people that they know.
Hmm.
It's really hard for like companies to take a second years as seriously. Although we did get a few, as I said, via placement cell, we did get a few summer internships. But for the most part, a lot of good internships that you do get are via, like, say, your parents or your family, friends, etc., which is not a problem at all. And for such situations, I don't think it's extremely compulsory to have like a very on point CGPA. It's more of just the experience that you can build up out there and what you have in prior to that. Versus when it comes for placements, yeah, your CGPA does play a role. We've just started the placement process, so we're also like seeing how it comes. But then again, it's from what I've seen also, it's a combination of everything. It's a combination of your previous internships, your CGPA, your skills, your leadership positions, etc. Everything coming together impacts your placement process. So CGPA will play one role. I wouldn't say the only, like, it doesn't play like everything. It doesn't determine everything. It determines things to a certain extent. Although this is not something we were told, we had companies that come this time for us as well who had a particular requirement for a certain amount of CGPA. So we had a company that came that had a very explicit requirement of a 80 percentage plus in every single semester. Of like we never knew any of these things in first year, so we never took first year as seriously about these things. But yeah, I mean, as when we're seeing it, we do. But of course, it doesn't apply to every company, but there are certain companies that do have certain requirements for placements, nothing for some
Okay.
internships.
Okay. So you were not aware. That's the reason possibly, people don't really start focusing from the first year. And that is the only reason why we have Campus Insider, why we have, webinars like this, because if you all, who are looking at joining BSc Economics, and if you're looking at having, the end goal is very important when you are looking at, ki 3 saal baad, when I'm done with the degree, I would get a good placement. But for you to get a good placement, the rigor needs to be from the first year itself. Okay, so the criteria for CGPA, where when we were talking about, is this year, is there a certain minimum, which required CGPA for placement? No, it is a requirement which normally comes from the organizations who come for placements.
Yeah. To
All
join
right.
to join the placement cell, you don't need to have any kind of eligible, like there's no criteria to join the placement cell. Also, because NMIMS tries to like get placements for all their students if you apply to the placement cell. So that is something that they want to sort of like, they're proud about getting one student, one offer. I mean, and getting it for everyone who applies to placement cell. So
Okay.
regardless of your CGPA, you can apply to placement cell.
Okay. Now, Shrishti, you have asked about job placement percentage. Okay. Now, there is when we are looking at a job placement percentage, for you to offer or to opt for placement, okay, a student will have to register with the placement cell. All right. And with NMIMS, if you look at their website, if you look at the information what they provide, and as correctly what Tisha mentioned, when a student is applying for a placement cell, they would get at least one offer. So what it looks like is 100% for the students who are applying for placement. Now, what does this mean? If we have 120 students in the class, not that 120 would go for placement, 40 would possibly want to study, abroad, or want to study, want to go for CAT, do MBA, do masters, XYZ. The remaining 80 who are looking at placement would definitely get placed, and that's how it is measured. Okay. Now, Karthik is asking about how many hours a day do you have lectures? Neeta, you seem to be studying pretty much. Let us know how many hours or how many lectures do you, with NMIMS you get for BSc Eco?
So I think in the first year we have the most number of lectures. I think we're in college from around 8 or 9 to 2 and 3. So that's around, and each lecture is an hour. So around 5 to 6 lectures, especially in the first year. The second year, I think it gets cut to 4 to 5 lectures. And the third year, we have college around, it's actually 5 subjects again. Yeah, so 5 to 6 hours is, I think, guys, all throughout the year, all throughout the course.
All throughout the course. So in a week, So every lecture is for an hour?
Yes.
So we are looking at what? 30, 40 hours a week?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so that's what we are looking at. People who want to, kind of know what exactly or how many hours do you dedicate when it comes to, the lectures is concerned. It is around, around 40 hours a week. Okay. Now, when it comes to the placements, when it comes to, I mean, you guys must be knowing the insider news. Do you know what is the highest package anybody has received in NMIMS?
Via placement cell, last year was 19 lakhs. But of course, I know of seniors who got higher packages without applying to placement cell, even reaching 24, 25. But this is solely of last year.
Okay, so around 15 is what we are looking at. The highest you said,
19,
9.
I said, was the high, 19 was the highest via placement cell. And I knew of people who got even 24 off campus.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
That is very impressive. Okay, now when it comes to the university is concerned, okay, what exactly your experience has been? I want to kind of ask this last question so we can take up all the questions we have here. Okay, so what exactly has been your experience, Disha, with the university, and why would you recommend this university to anyone?
So for me, it's been extremely a very fulfilling experience at some points, and it's also been an extremely rigorous, tough experience at some points. It's been a fair, bittersweet experience as such. Why I would definitely recommend it is, as Neeta had earlier mentioned, the course, the design of the course structure, and faculty. There's nothing that compares to it. There are lots of good things about it: fests, clubs, friends, meeting new people, meeting like-minded people, lots of fun activities via college. So that's all like stuff that I personally is my like biggest like achievement from this college. The opportunities also that they provide, of course, the rigor and attendance requirements, the discipline and the emphasis that NMIMS has. So it can get really like it can really get to you because the discipline is extremely rigorous. Administrative issues is something NMIMS struggles with. And a lot of other like smaller things that really get to you via college. But I think the good parts, for the most part, overpower all of these things that can be overlooked at. So it has been a fulfilling experience of sorts. I would recommend it again just for the course. Just make sure you are sure about the course before you start. Do not go on your past grades, and don't do it because you know other friends doing it or anything of that. Do it solely based on your inclination towards economics as a subject.
Now, the same question which I have asked, to Tisha, a while back, the same question is for you, Neeta. What exactly is the uniqueness of this particular program you have come across, and why would you recommend it to anyone else?
I think the fact that it's not only focused on, boosting your academic knowledge, like you graduate from BSc Economics, you're definitely academically excel. Like you have a very strong knack for research, presentation. So there's a lot of soft skill development that definitely happens because research and presentation, especially, are two things that you are kind of forced to do since SEM 1. So you kind of become really good at it. You know, like where to look for and like even data analysis because since it's a BSc course, I feel there is a lot of practical application of whatever you study. So you take real world examples and you get to analyze the data and you yourself build models to, put the theory into practice. So it's something that is not only academic focused, but an extension of academics, but at the same time, even the clubs and everything really adds to your holistic development.
So it's basically a very holistic program is the reason for you to kind of recommend.
Right.
What about you, Riddhi? What has been your takeaway? It's a third year, you would be graduating, next year.
Okay. So as I was saying that you need to have a very good balance of both. Like, it's not like you're gonna lose out your social life. You can have a very decent amount of social life. It's not like you're gonna lock yourself and like study, study, study. It's really not. Like if you can balance it out and you can like study your part that single day and have your fair share of study the next day and on the third day you will be sorted. Like it's not like you have to only study. As also, there's a lot of clubs where you can take your mind away from studies. You can have there are a lot of networking opportunities. Also, there's a lot of diversity in the crowd. So it's not like you're only gonna be talking to like Mumbai cars or like people who only have that one, because coming from a Jamnabai background, I only had like people who lived in Mumbai. But getting into NMIMS, I had people from like Delhi and Hyderabad and Gujarat, and it's like a very diverse crowd. So like it's a very good thing because you're gonna get different perspectives from everybody. So I think that's a very good plus point because you're gonna know everyone else's mental idea perspectives, and you're gonna know how their brain works, and you're gonna know a lot about like the practical application because there's so many projects and presentations and so many different minds from different places. Like there's no way you're not gonna have like once you leave NMIS, there's no way you're not gonna have like a different mindset or like something added on to your mindset. Like there's always like once you leave NMIS, it's like you're gonna feel like there's nothing more about economics you can learn. Obviously there is, but like they ingrain economics into your brain. So like if you do not like economics, this course is not something I would tell you all to do. But if you all like economics, it's something that will definitely increase your likingness and your want to take take it further into research or an analyst or anything further. And also something that's very interesting is that you can go into any kind of job opportunity from here. Like you can go into business, you can go into becoming an analyst, you can go into research, you can literally go into anything you want. So it's not like it's going to restrict you to a path. So that's something that's very interesting. So like even if you're not very sure where you want reading in the future, but you know you like economics, this is the course. Like you need to go here because that was my whole mindset when I joined in. So
Okay. All right. Some very good perspective we have received in regards with why anybody should be actually going for BSc Economics. Now, a lot of students have been asking, Aditi has asked that if to do a BSc Economics, do you need to be from a certain stream or what stream a student should select post 10th? So there is no certain, eligibility, like a science student can't really go for economics or an art student can't go for economics, but you have to understand that mathematics is the eligibility here, not from what stream you guys are coming from. So it is okay if you are from science and you want to do economics, and you can definitely opt for it. Okay. Shrishti, you have asked difference between traditional economic honors and business economics. Okay. Now, when it comes to traditional economic honors and business economics, it will be the content. The name itself tells you there are certain aspects which would remain the same, like the macroeconomics, which goes from the advanced, the start level, whom we call an introductory level, then it will go to intermediate, and then it kind of moves to advanced. But the specialization what you take would definitely change, and that ideally makes a lot of options, a lot of programs difference. The basic foundation for maximum of the program would remain the same. And to be very honest, in my experience, if you look at a lot of programs, if you go for BSc, if you go for BSc Eco Finance, you would find something which is very consistent, is the fact that nothing would only be about common, about economics. Nothing would be only about finance. कि finance के अलावा आप कुछ पढ़ोगे ही नहीं. You would be basically made ready for the corporate world. So you would learn communication as well, you would learn law as well, you would learn everything which would be, a part of that particular, content or with that particular field. Like if you go for finance, law would eventually, would be a part of it because it is a very crucial aspect. So that will be something you would learn with any particular course you would go for. And again, as I mentioned, if you have questions, the best way to get your answers is simple. Just go onto their website, any particular, college, NMIMS. If you're looking at BA Economics, go to St. Xavier's, Calcutta. Just download their curriculum, which is available, and you would know exactly what they would be kind of taking you through, and that is how you would know what exactly you are getting into when it comes to the subject is concerned. But remember one thing, maths cannot be avoided. I would like to know suggestions from all of you, which other university you would like to know, which program you would want to know. Finance is something which definitely I would be covering up, but that would be going in the month of November. Next month, on the 13th of October 23, 7 p.m., we would have BA Economics. Christ, we have already done. कोई कोई अटेंड नहीं कर रहा है, कोई देख नहीं रहा है. Christ, we have already done. We have already kind of called BBA students for Christ University. And yes, we have SRCC coming on the 13th of October, 7 p.m. BA Economics. And the questions you all have asked about the difference between BA Economics and BSc Economics, I think we would get a very clear picture from the students that point in time, that point when they would let us know what exactly content difference between, you know, the BSc and the BO, because we know now how the BSc works. BA Economics, we would know from SRCC, and I'm sure that will kind of give you a very good picture. Thank you so much, Neeta, Tisha, and Riti, taking out time and doing this with us. I know it was pretty hectic last night. You guys, all three of you, have still made it. Thank you so much, and have a lovely weekend. Thank you so much, students, for joining in today. In case if there are any questions, please post it on Telegram channel, and I would be there to help you. Thank you so much, Neeta, Tisha, and Riti. It was lovely talking to you all.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank you.
having us.
Bye.
Most welcome. Bye bye.